I want to welcome you to the inaugural webinar for NYSE Amex and NYSE ARCA options. I am joined today by Amy Farnstrom here in San Francisco, and I am Todd Weilman. We welcome you to the Distributive Linkage Intermarket Sweep Order webinar. Questions are always welcome. Below the slideshow, you will see a window that you can type in your questions. Please send them. And at the end of our webinar, we will answer all pertinent questions and any impertinent questions also. Going on to the legal disclaimer, realize this presentation is only for education and illustration. Any forward-looking statements will be inadvertent, and we disclaim any knowledge of them. Now that we have our introductions and our legal out of the way, let us light this candle. Where we welcome. So we're talking about locked and cross markets here, the distributive linkage, the new order type, ISO. Where we've been, if you remember, is the OCC linkage hub. So no more is the OCC linkage hub. That has gone away, and now we're into a distributive linkage. So there is no more P or PA order types. There's no more IMM order types. Those are seeking market makers. And there's no more R-type satisfaction orders. So you might want to make sure your system has been purged of those. Where we are now is distributive linkage. We have a direct order routing. We also use routing brokers to do our routing of orders to take out locked or cross markets. With this direct order routing, we have a new order type, the Intermarket Sweep Order, and we'll get into all of the details and how that is going to work in the marketplace. We're going to explain how an inbound ISO order type is going to work and how an outbound ISO order type coming off of our exchange is going to work. So let's talk about how an inbound ISO Intermarket Sweep Order will work. So on an inbound ISO order, the most important thing to remember is it will ignore the NBBO. When we receive an ISO order, we will never route to another exchange for an ISO order. The time and force on these intermarket sweep orders will be an IOC, immediate or cancel. And then the last thing is these ISO orders will trade versus the existing depth of book, excluding all or none's tracking orders.
Right, and I think it's very important for folks to understand, Todd, that when you send us an ISO order, that instruction is telling us that you have taken care of sweeping the away markets yourself, okay? There has been some confusion about handling of a non-ISO versus an ISO order, and that's one of the things that we felt we needed to clarify for our participants. We can't speak for other exchanges, but we are going to outline exactly how this works on our exchange. So understand that if you send us an ISO order, we're not going to sweep away markets for you, and it is your obligation to sweep those markets yourself. We will not route out. Today, the only time and force that we accept on inbound ISO orders is the time and force of IOC. A little later in the presentation, we'll get into day ISO orders and what we're thinking of in terms of those for the first quarter of next year.
But that's 2010, and here we are in 2009. So again, as Amy said, the ISO order, any remaining balance or remaining volume on the ISO order will be canceling back to the sending firm. Now, when you send in an ISO order type to us, you will indicate it in the fixed tag of 18 with the value of F. And obviously the ISO order type will be reported to OPRO with the special ISO trade qualifier, and that type code is S, and that's going to be for all exchanges. But just realize that you will see on the tape that it was an ISO order by the qualifier of the S code. And obviously our orders will be accepted via FIX or ARCA Direct.
That's right, and you can find links on our website for both of those specifications for both FIX and ARCA Direct, and you can also contact our connectivity team with any questions about how to properly send in an ISO order type to our exchange. Okay, so we'll move to our first example. Oh, I'm sorry. My problem.
Wait a second. And let's talk about distributed linkage really quickly.
Yeah.
So the benefits for you, the order sending firm, and the participants on our two exchanges.
Okay, we had just a technical difficulty, folks. There's a slide missing out of our deck that's coming out to you over the internet. So, but we do want to take a moment out here and address distributive linkage and why we feel that we're especially geared towards distributive linkage and what the benefits are.
NYSE ARCA has been using routing brokers since we launched NYSE ARCA in 2005, so we have 5 years of experience using the routing brokers, or actually since 2006. So we're on our 5th year of experience using routing brokers. Our average fill or our average out on an on a routed order is anywhere from 100 to 300 milliseconds. We can access all option markets. We can route all customer capacity types. So if you send in an order, whether it be customer, firm, broker, dealer, market maker, we can route out that type of order. We use the same account capacity of the original order, and the best part is there's no routing fee surcharge. We have multiple routing brokers, so we have numerous failovers in place, so there's no situation that we will not be routing out an order. We will be routing out all orders as ISOs with the time and force of immediate or cancel.
Right. So, and what we do when we route out an order on your behalf, when you send it to us, you know, as today and in the past, we route only what the available size is that's shown by the away market, and there's no double representation of your order while it's in flight. And again, the average round trip time is extremely fast. We're really happy with our numbers on our fills and outs. One thing, when we say we use the account capacity of the original order, that means that it goes either as customer or firm. BD and market maker also get routed out as firm orders. And when we say market maker, that applies to market maker orders only. Obviously, we don't route out market maker quotes. The other thing of note is, as Todd mentioned, we don't charge a routing fee surcharge, so the only cost that comes back to you is the transaction fee for the exchange, either NYSE ARCA or NYSE Amex. We do not, we absorb the cost or any related costs for routing to the away market.
Exactly. And for your information, if you wanted to know, the last 6 months our routed volume off of ARCA is under 5%. And off of the NYSE Amex is a little under 8%.
Right. So we do have a very good in-house fill rate on both exchanges.
And we have a lot of experience.
Okay, so we'll move on to now our first example.
Well, let's talk about how an outbound ISO order will work. It will be generated whenever the whenever NYSE ARCA or NYSE Amex is not at the MBBO for sufficient size to fill a marketable inbound non-ISO order. It must be a routable order type. So if you're using one of our PNPs, an immediate or cancel, a fill or kill, or an all or none, those will not route out. And realize that our outbound ISOs orders will always have a time and force of immediate or cancel. It will be sent for the lesser of the ISO order volume or your original order volume or the size of the displayed volume at the away BBO. So if your order comes into our exchange and we don't have sufficient size, and there's another exchange out there which will remain nameless, but and they have a size that's displayed, we will send it for the size displayed or for the volume at the away BBO. These orders, if there's multiple exchanges that we will be sending ISO orders to, they will all be sent contemporaneously to trade all available top of book size on the away exchanges, up to, of course, the incoming order size, regardless of the MBBO.
So, you know, this is a big difference in how orders are routed under distributive linkage as opposed to under the old centralized linkage plan. We will not wait for any NBBO updates. As Todd said, we send out the orders contemporaneously. We only take out the top of book size, only displayed size on the away exchanges. So we might hit one exchange paying 17 cents, another exchange paying 18 cents, another exchange paying 19 cents, all at the same time. And then after that, once the ISO orders have been sent, then we will go ahead and access, well, it's contemporaneously with the ISO orders being sent away, we will access our depth of book up to the order's limit price. So it's very fast. There's no delay. There's no waiting for NBBO refresh, and that's a big, big difference with distributive linkage as opposed to legacy linkage.
No waiting seconds. It's going to be hundreds of milliseconds.
And so now the slide that I've been so anxious to get to.
We are ready for our examples. Are you ready for our examples? Example number 1, receipt of a non-ISO order.
So if we get a non-ISO order on NYSE ARCA or NYSE Amex, you know, we immediately will route out ISO orders to the away markets. Again, NYSE ARCA and NYSE Amex do not have any type of flashing mechanism, so there's no delay. We immediately will route out on your behalf, and we will not wait for the NBBO to update in between our routes. So in this example, we have a non-ISO order that arrives on NYSE Amex or NYSE ARCA, as the case may be, wanting to pay $1.20 2,000 times. As you see on the slide, several other exchanges are offered at prices better than $1.20. Also, the NYSE Amex or NYSE ARCA depth of book is showing prices that are superior to a $1.20 offer as well. So under expected results, you see that we will contemporaneously route out and trade on the home exchange until we reach the limit of the book, or the limit of the order. And at that time, because it's a non-ISO order, if it's a day order, it will be posted to the book. Now, obviously, if you want to, you can send us a non-ISO order that has a time and force of IOC as well, just to clear the away markets and clear our depth of book, or you can send a day or a GTC order or any other type of order that's routable, and this behavior will occur. In first quarter of 2010, we anticipate launching our crossing mechanism for the electronic platforms, and we'll get into that a little bit more as we talk about the ISO day order, but certainly for a non-ISO order, you could also send in a cross where we would sweep, as we're showing here, and any remaining balance then would go into the crossing mechanism. And we'll have more information about that as we get closer to launching the crossing mechanism.
And that is expected Q1 of 2010. But taking away from this first example, realize that we do not wait for the NBBO to refresh. That's very important to take away from this whole webinar. And on this non-ISO order, we received the order. We traded our depth of book, but we only traded the top of book on the away exchanges, and then we will post the balance of any remaining volume to our book. And so going to the next example is a receipt of an ISO order. So if the NYSE ARCA receives an ISO order, we ignore the NBBO. Important to keep remembering that. So an ISO order is going to be received by us here at NYSE ARCA, and it's to pay $1.20 2,000 times. Now, if you look at this example, you can see the away markets. The SIBO is at 117 for 100. ICE is at 118 for 50. Philly is at 119 for 100. And then you look at our depth of book here at the NYSE ARCA, and at 117 we have 100. At 18 cents we have 200. All the way up at 120 we have 600. So we contemporaneously trade up to our depth of book that matches your limit that you were to pay of 120.
Right, and Todd, you bring up a really good point here, and this has been another area of confusion for some folks. If we receive an ISO order from you, that is you telling us that you're taking responsibility for trading the away market. So when we receive an ISO order from you, we don't route anything out on your behalf. We simply trade to your limit, and the onus is on you at that point to send orders to all the other exchanges that are displaying better prices. So that's just the important distinction between us receiving a non-ISO order and an ISO order. So, just because there's been some confusion around that, we wanted to make that as clear as possible.
So when you populate the fixed tag 18 with the value of F, which is an ISO order, realize we will trade up to our depth of book up to your limit. Very important to realize. Okay, moving on. Example number 3, a receipt of an ISO order with the time and force of day. Now, this is not available currently right now, but as we say, first quarter of 2010, we, Amy, you can explain it better than I can.
Okay. So, theoretically, an ISO order, I know some other exchanges accept ISO orders with a time and force of day right now. We've made the decision to wait until we have our crossing mechanism in place to accept ISO orders with a time and force of day, because for all practical purposes, the feedback that we've gotten, at least to this point, and I encourage you, if you have different feedback for us, to please communicate that to us, is that for all practical purposes, time and force of day works well inside of a crossing mechanism. This example is a valid example for what we would do, although when we get down to the bottom and it says 650 contracts, the remaining balance will be booked, and that means booked out loud to Opera, so that it would, potentially be locking or crossing other markets and stand its ground. For all practical purposes, we envision using this only in conjunction with the crossing mechanism, so that rather than posting to the book and being out loud to Opera, at the end of the sweep of our depth of book and it's reached its limit, we would expect this to come to us as a new order cross message type with a guarantee order on the other side, and then we'd start an auction and cross whatever portion can be crossed and give price improvement to the customer order with any RFQ responses. So actually, instead of being posted out loud to Opera, it would generate an RFQ out over ArcaBook that our participants can listen to and respond to. So, while that's our current plan today, if there's concerns about that, or anyone feels like, we should expand that to posting to the book out loud, please let us know. But currently, we don't have any plans to do that. Okay? So, we haven't gotten any questions from anybody, and we just encourage you to go ahead and send them in if you have any. I mean, I'd like to think that we're doing a perfect job here and answering everyone's questions, but we're more than happy at the end of the presentation to take your questions. Okay.
Okay. We'll wait a few moments, let people start typing. I always think that's a good idea. And we're still waiting. Wow, I think, Amy, that we did such a good job of explaining out intermarket linkage and ISO order types.
That's all right. So, just so that everyone knows what our next steps are, we want to be consistent with these webinars, and, we're happy to have the participation level that we see today. We hope that this is going to be something that grows and that we bring value to you by our presentations. We're always open to receive new ideas for presentations, questions that are out there in the industry that we can be helpful in answering or speaking to. And, we plan to make this part of sort of a regularly scheduled update to let you know what we're thinking of, what we're building, what our plans are going forward, and your feedback is very, very valuable to us. So some of the coming attractions that we have right now is that, like I said, we'll add the time and force of day for inbound ISO orders in Q1 of 2010 in conjunction with our crossing mechanism. Okay? And then next time, I think the other thing that people maybe have some questions about, or we certainly would like to get the word out more, is about our PNP order type. And we will put together a webinar and get that on the schedule in the near future.
Oh, good. So I see some incoming questions. Thank you. We'll start answering those momentarily. For our coming attractions, you do not want to miss the PNP, post-no preference order types. There's 4 that we just went live on in the last quarter, and I think they would be very useful for our order sending firms.
So I have a question here. If we expect to receive any inbound ISO orders that are more than our displayed size. So the answer to that would be it depends on who we receive them from. Certainly if it's from another exchange, we would expect that it matches the price and the size for our displayed volume. If it's being sent in by a customer, we could certainly see a more aggressive limit price and more size than we're displaying at the top of book, depending on what they want to accomplish by sending that ISO order to us. So, again, it just depends on where the order is being generated, whether it's from another exchange or from a customer.
Is this presentation available online? That is a great question. Yes, it will be available online at our website, nysc.com or nyx.com. If you go into the website and go under Futures and Options and click that tab, you will have a choice either between NYSC Amex options or NYSC ARCA options. You can pick either one and go to the Education tab, and that will be where this website will, this webinar will be posted, and it will be posted there Friday. It'll be for sure available by next Monday. Another one of the questions was,
right, and it says that whether or not the slides can be sent via email, and the window is so small it's hard to read the examples. I noticed that myself, and in addition to posting this presentation on the website, we will work on making the screens for the actual webcast in a larger font so it's easier for our participants to be able to see what we're talking about in real time. So another question that's come in, it says, if my day ISO is not exhausted after the auction, will it be posted to Opera? Now, theoretically, if you sent in a single day ISO order that's not intended for the crossing mechanism, yes, it would post to the book to Opera. Currently, we are not planning on supporting that. We are currently planning to support day time and force for ISO orders only if they come in as a new order cross message. And again, your feedback is valuable here so that we can plan accordingly. Do you have any other questions out there? I'm glad that we're seeing some. Okay, well, I don't see any other questions coming in. So, we really appreciate everyone's time today. We hope that you found this helpful. And please, you can contact either Todd or I with any follow-up questions that you didn't have an opportunity to ask today, or if something occurs to you.
On the drive home after work, which it usually does for me. So please feel free to send us an email tomorrow morning, and we will get a response to you.
And also, if you have any suggestions for us for how we can improve these webinars so that they are more useful for you, please let us know that as well. We really want this to be a valuable way for us to communicate with our participants. We want these to be as informative and helpful as possible.
We're creating order types and we're creating functionality because we want you to be trading on our two exchanges. So that's why we're here. We're looking forward to our next webinar of the PMP order type. If there's any other information that you would like in a webinar on any type of order type, functionality, of course, let Amy or I, Todd, know what it is. We're up for suggestions because here at NYSC Euronext, we are here for you in the exchanging world.
Nice job, Todd. Thank you very much.
Amy, Farnston, thank you so much.
And thank you, everyone, for your participation today. Take care. Be well.